That's right.
Yep.
Somewhat chilly over today. So just a few things on the leadership this morning. As you heard, the diversity, equity, and inclusion training is taking place. This time, I think they're doing like 3 committees at a time. Historically, you've done this as a caucus of the whole in the past, so this is different this year. So it's going to take place today, tomorrow, and Friday. So check with your committee to see when you are going to have your training. KC2 is in this training, that education. So my understanding is this is a pilot to see how this way goes. Maybe you'll get more people, more discussion happening with a small group of people. But it will take place over 3 days. So just check with your committee to see when yours is scheduled. There will be a caucus of the whole tomorrow at 3:45. That will include the Senate as well. And it's dealing with education, finance, taxes. So I believe that Secretary Tony Saunders and Commissioner Greg Polio, Tax Commissioner Greg Polio will be presenting. There will also be in the next several weeks, we usually have like a tax training 101. Usually takes place on Fridays at noon, from like noon to 1. Ways and Means Committee usually handles that, and looking at Billy Canfield, the chair and the organizer, and that they do 1 issue a week, and I believe it takes place over the course of 4 weeks. Correct. Okay. So stay tuned for that. I'm not quite sure when that's going to begin. We did have a moment of silence today. Several of you reached out to me, and I reached out to the speaker, so she did have a moment of silence this morning for the Border Patrol agent Joint rules is set to meet on Wednesday. I'm the House member to joint rules. And the reason why we meet is to set crossover dates. My understanding is March 14th will be the final crossover date for policies bills, and March 21st will be all of the money bills. So those are the deadlines to get them out of the House to send for at least pretty close to it. House Rules is going to meet to continue what we've done last year, which is to allow 3 days worth of remote voting in committee. So if you're sick one day, no vote is coming up, you will be allowed to vote in committee that day, or you have to be 10 and others so you can afford to vote in committee. You will be allowed to vote, but that's only for 3 days during the entire 18 weeks that we are here. You will not be able to vote remotely on the floor. That is not allowed, just in committee and just for 3 days. Legislative Council and JFO are really busy drafting and trying to get the numbers for the education finance and systemic changes to education. So they would appreciate if you can or public safety bill to put it in short form, and they will. The short form is just like a 1 line, so it's not going to say anything about the bill, and they don't have to draft a bill, which takes a lot of time because they're spending all of their energy on these 4 bills that are going to be coming through. Public safety, which is, I said that along. So they're drafting now right now. Ed finance and the systemic change to education will be coming to them shortly. Housing and healthcare. So those 4 big bills, they're just out straight. So they would be very much appreciative of not having to draft other bills, but you can get a short form bill in which means it makes the deadline. Get on the wall in education, and you can get your 5 minutes in the committee to discuss that. That's just a request to alleviate some of the pressure that staff is feeling in the next 2 weeks, because I believe the deadline for bills is January 31st. The tentative plan is the second week in February to the committees up into the new meeting rooms, which I would say I'm told that their whole will take place that second week in February. I'm told governance and education will move up into those two rooms, and appropriations will move to room 9, which for those of us who have been here a while was the old code room. And currently, I think appropriations is in that room right now. So that room 10 and 11 will then be opened up for caucus like this. We normally would use the caucus concurrently with the Democrats, and Democrats would use room 11, and we would use room 10. And we've done that before when we had 53 times, so it will fit us rather than, walking all the way down here for this meeting to walk all the way back. So stay tuned for that. We told also that energy and digital technology will be moving from the room in room 41 because fire hazards, trying to get everybody out of that room. And I guess the sergeant at arms went in there last week and it was just filled with people, too many for that. So they will be moving downstairs. I think it's between judiciary and corrections and institutions. There's an empty room there. So they will go there, and that room is supposed to be noticed by January 27th, which I think is next Monday. This Monday coming up. So that's on the scope of things for this weekend to take place. Thursday after 4 is going to be the ethics and decorum training. So we've done a sexual harassment prevention training last Tuesday. Today, Wednesday and Thursday, Friday, we'll be doing the DEI training, and then this will be the last training for us, which is the ethics and decorum. So that will be after 4 this Thursday. And January 29th at 1 p.m. will be the governor's budget address to the caucus of the whole. I think that's all I have, except one issue that a couple of people have brought to my attention. When you get an email from someone asking you to sign on to a bill, or have information for you, it's going to the entire house. So please do not reply all. Just reply so that the person that's sending it will get your message, but not 149 other people. So that's just for new members and for some members that may be doing that too. Do not hit the reply all button, just hit reply. Those are my messages for this morning.
Patty, maybe you said this and I didn't hear it. Is there any capacity rules for the rooms, the committee rooms?
There are, and I don't see them posted right now. Remember, they used to say you can have a capacity of 18 or 19, which means the committee's 12, plus your committee assistant is 13, which meant you could have 6 other people in the room. Last year, I know on my committee, occasionally they would say that we're at capacity, people would have to leave. But that room 41 is so tiny. I know Rockland County knows, because we have our Wednesday morning meetings there. They do have a bench along the wall. People sit there. It's a creative space for all of those members to sit around the desks. And the concern was for them to get up from around there and get to the door, which was kind of the, that's kind of inside and wall on another, and you had to get out and turn left to get down the stairs. So that was the concern of the bathroom. But check with your committee and see if they're still following those It was mainly for HVAC issues, so. And I know that that is still an ongoing issue. They have not completely finished the work on that, so they may be looking at that. Anyone else have any other questions before I open it up to if anyone has any bills they are still looking for signatures for to introduce Richard?
When do we get to talk about bills we wanna see?
No, that's what I just said, so. Come on. And we'll put you on, let's see here somewhere. Okay. Okay.
Looking for it.
Have they already been submitted, Richard?
Yes.
Okay, so you're not looking for signature.
Looking to bring attention to it, just to get people thinking about, no.
Okay, so can we get to the people that still have?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great.
You see, you cut me off where I finished saying that.
Okay. If anyone else have bills that they want to talk to, please.
Thank you. I'm sure I've already talked about this one, but I kind of made a list. I kind of made a list of a few people that I wanted to speak to personally, but I'll just put this out to the whole group. I think I've already mentioned this one. It's not an ideal time to submit anything that has to do with education, but this is really about healthcare. And this is about the AOE studying the need for athletic trainers in secondary schools. These folks serve as a frontline medical personnel clinician in secondary schools, particularly in rural communities that do not typically have an athletic trainer on staff, might have a part-time school nurse, do not have a medical clinic in the nearby vicinity. And these folks are on the ground whenever there's an athletic event or competition or a practice. And many schools in rural districts do not have athletic trainers on staff. Students may have to wait first for medical care to come to them or for them to be transported to medical care when it's often an acute thing. And also, student athletes who may have illnesses or other physical conditions or conditions that affect their mental well-being. Athletic trainers often act as the first diagnostic clinician to talk to these students and point them in the right direction for medical care. So if anybody's interested in signing this onto this, it's a very small study with a very small study group. Very little money in terms of a stipend for folks to be on this group. And it's, again, to study the need and the potential implementation of every secondary school having an athletic trainer on board. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any draft bills? Oh, Caucus, Jeff, and, oh, didn't see someone else, so, Jeff.
Having, full disclosure, I'm an independent, although I feel very much among brethren here to this. I'm also a member of the professional law contractors of the Northeast. And the bill I want to talk about, I'm honored to present, and it's really about creating parity. As you know, farmers are in the time of great stress, as are working lands, the logging community, forestry community in general, very critical to Vermont's economy, and they're under stress. Parity, in a sense, this bill is about taxation, forestry sales tax, purchase and use tax. So there is a fiscal note component ahead of us. But it's important to know that New York State, as they exempt agriculture and farming in New York State, they're exempted from the sales tax for trucks and trailers and other equipment used in, producing and transporting agricultural commodities, as well as forestry commodities, in the forest to the market. New Hampshire, as you know, has no sales tax, and Maine is working on a similar bill as I've proposed now. So as we watch sawmills that go out of business here or burn, they reopen outside of Vermont. This is very detrimental for our economy. So I am looking for health signatures on recognize me, I'm one of the older people in the body, but if you're more comfortable, Representative Higley is also a supporter, and many Representative Nelson on committee has signed this. And believe it or not, the Senate Democrat Becker White's a strong supporter of this and urged me to make sure that more political experience, so, you know, you'll get a lot more support from membership of the body. So would appreciate any support you give to this Senate. Thank you.
So you can see Chad after we close out here or in the cafeteria between now, January. Yes. Anything else before I bring?
Just a question, Patty. Do you have information about the victory event next week that the governor's hosting? I think you would send her back also.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I get that. You get one for each one.
Just the one.
Yeah. Sure. So Mark is going to explain sportsman's caucus and then Richard, I promise she. They're back.
Yeah, for those of you who didn't hear, in your mailbox, there should be a sign-up sheet for the Sportsman's Caucus. The fee is $20 for the biennium. If you don't have that, it's only to have the others, reach out to, Gina Galpetti, those are dues, yes. And it's really, we have always had a fun event, put this down in your calendars too. February 25th, it's a Tuesday, 4:30 to 7:30. It's in a state house cafeteria, it's called our Mixer. We have raffle items there from, Johnson Wallen Mills, you name it, there's a bunch of different raffle items. We have speakers lined up, looks like Lieutenant Governor John Rogers, the Fish and Wildlife Commissioner, Edgar Shortsleeve, other selected Fish and Wildlife leaders, the Vermont Tradition Coalition Director Mike Covey, Vermont Federation of Sportsmen's Club President Chris Patsky, and we always invite the governor to give us a time of year and stuff like this. Again, that's something that's really a great time, and it's a good group to support. Sure. So, thank you.
Richard.
I'm new to all this, so, if I'm doing it wrong, tell me. And I get afraid to speak in front of people.
Okay, good stuff.
Yeah. I do have a couple bills that are pending. One is the right to farm legislation. Vermont has the weakest right to farm bills in the nation out of 50 states. And we may be one of the states with the most dependency on agriculture. So I'm looking for that come from Michael Grady. Another bill we're working on is the handling of, I'm gonna call it the way I see it, sludge. They like to decorate it and fluff it up, put a petunia on it, call it biosolids, sludge. Human waste in itself is one thing, but when you add industrial products to it and what gets washed down the floor, drains, your local garage and whatnot, and into the septic system is a whole different ballgame. And, there is some legislation pending on that right now. I looked it over today and it has to do with testing of all things to make sure they're free of it. Before land applied, and it would have to be, low enough number for it to be landfilled. There are people out there that just want to ban it outright. We gotta look at the unintended consequences of this bill. It will have a real effect on our constituents, but it could have an everlasting effect on our soils. So this is something, and, Representative North reached out to me over the weekend. We've been having a dialogue about it, and if you haven't seen a copy of that legislation, I'll forward it to you. The other thing I have is in our packets, the bills today, 845. The ban of firearms from establishments that sell liquor. Define that for me. You know? That never gonna happen. Anyway, define that for me. Is an event a sportsman's event? A wedding, sportsman's event where they have a bar going, or a bunch of people have got their coolers back with beer, I'm kind of opposed to all firearms legislation anyways. We've got too many rules in the state as it is. And, I'm just gonna wanna urge y'all to read that bill and support it with a nod. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything else before we adjourn?